Share early voting information. Early voting starts this Saturday. There's 4 early voting sites in the county of Schenectady, the main library in downtown Schenectady, the South Schenectady Fire Department in Rotterdam, the Niskayuna Town Hall, and then here in Glenville, the senior center. You can go to any of the 4 sites to vote. You don't have to go to the site in Glenville to vote in the Glenville election. The times on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday and Sunday, and the following Saturday and Sunday are 9 to 2. Monday and Wednesday of the upcoming week, it's noon to 8, and then Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's 9 to 5. And given what's going on right now in the world, if you're looking to maybe spread out, go at a little bit of an off hour, this is a great opportunity to do so. But definitely make a plan to vote. It's important. There are sometimes people feel like their vote may not count in a state where sometimes it's a little bit, it tends to lean a specific way in the presidential election, but it's important. It's also important what line you vote on as well. So look into that, make an informed decision, and make sure you get out and have your voice heard. And that's all, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Councilwoman Worzbowski.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, I attended the virtual traffic safety board meeting this afternoon. There's a long discussion about the truck traffic. I know over the years we've had occasion to put up many different weight limit signs, limiting weight to 4 tons on county and local roads in the West Glenville area to try to discourage trucks from going over the roads there, and those roads are generally not built to handle tractor trailers. So there was a long discussion about putting more signs up and trying to, discourage that traffic. But one thing that did come out of the discussion is Tom Melander is going to contact DOT and see if they would be willing to set up some sort of a truck inspection event, at least one of them coming up, so that possibly they would catch trucks that are overweight and may have other violations and start enforcing the weight limitations on those roads, and see if we can't give the residents some relief. So that was the biggest item of discussion. The only other thing that did come out of it is, schools open. There was a lot more traffic in and around schools. There's a couple different locations within the town that people are not slowing down for schools, speed limits, not stopping at stop signs because they must be in a hurry. So just remind people to be cognizant of the fact that the school speed limits are there for a reason. If you have to slow down to 20 miles an hour for half a mile to make sure that the children and the parents who are entering and exiting parking lots are safe, that's probably not a bad idea. It's there for a reason. So, everybody's busy, everybody's in a hurry, but please be mindful of the other drivers on the road and mindful of the speed limits and the traffic devices to control traffic.
Thank you. Councilman Martin.
Yeah, just a brief report. We did have another virtual meeting of the zoning revision committee or code revision committee a week or 2 ago. And one thing that's coming onto our plate, it looks like due to the increased interest in the community for large solar projects, we're looking at methods that might be appropriate to deal with regulation of such projects. As you know, we did change the code several years ago to accommodate residential scale solar, but given our attributes here in terms of having major transmission lines and substations in the community, we are one of the likely spots for location of these larger facilities. So we're looking at a way that maybe we can get proactively out in front of this and regulate these to our advantage. So we're just starting those early discussions. And then my final thing is, as I usually like to do, is thank our policemen and women for their service here in our community and constantly keeping us safe.
Thank you. Councilman Aragosa.
I have nothing.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Camera wasn't cooperating. Okay, so that's town council reports. We'll move on to the public hearings, and we're going to open the first public hearing in regards to listen to any objections which may be made to the assessment roll for Water District 11 and extension numbers 10 through 50. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter regarding any objections to assessment roll for Water District 11 and extensions numbers 10 through 50? Going once, going twice, seeing none, that is now closed. The next public hearing is to hear any objections which may be made to assessment rolls for the All Plus Sewer District number 1. That public hearing is now open. This is to hear any objections to the assessment roll which may be made for sewer, I'm sorry, for, no, this one is for the assessment roll of Sewer District number 9 and extensions number 7. I skipped over one. So this is a public hearing related to any objections that may be made for assessment roll for Sewer District number 9 and extension number 7. That is the public hearing that's open. If that changes anyone's mind, anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice, that is now closed. We are now at the public hearing regarding any objections which may be made for the assessment roll for the All Plus Sewer District number 1. That public hearing is now open. This is to hear any objections to the assessment roll for All Plus Sewer District number 1. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice, seeing none, that's now closed. Our final public hearing of the night is to hear any objections which may be made to the assessment roll for Sewer District number 2. That public hearing is now open. And this is for make any objections to the assessment roll for Sewer District number 2. Going once, going twice, seeing none. That public hearing is now closed. We are now on to privilege of the floor, which anybody from the webinar, if you raise your hand, we'll invite you in to make comments for privilege of the floor, or anyone here in the room once we open privilege of the floor, which is now open. We do not have anyone signed up. Anyone wish to be heard at privilege of the floor? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Privilege of the floor is now closed. Supervisor's comments. I really didn't have any comments tonight, but I did want to, as folks were talking, I thought of a few just quick things to mention. Again, I announced this at the last board meeting and I've answered numerous questions about it. Halloween is not canceled in the town of Glenville. Halloween, we have a resolution here actually for our safe Halloween, which we pass every year. It really isn't a town event, so it wouldn't seem appropriate for the town to cancel an event that is not ours, number one. And number two, it really should be left for public or each person's own discretion. And so Halloween will be up to the individual, the homeowner, and also then the trick-or-treater and the family doing the trick-or-treating, and how you want to do that, if you want to do that, or if you don't want to do that. But it isn't a town event, so it's not going to be town canceled. We will have our safe Halloween resolution, though, with the curfew of 8 o'clock, which we do every year. Councilwoman Wierzbowski talked a little bit about the traffic safety. I want to let residents know we are very aware every time that bridge is hit. We get called and we do respond. So I do thank all the people for the calls and the emails and things. We're very aware of the situation. It's not a town of Glenville solution. We're working hard. We've been working hard with state, with DOT. Melissa and I have been in contact with engineers at DOT yet again. DOT is adamant that signage does not work. I tend to agree because it's signed up as good as it's going to get signed up, and it just isn't working. So there's very, very few options for us at this particular juncture. We have talked to DOT about laser systems that will trip, but it's very expensive. It's newer technology that if a truck is coming towards the bridge, a laser beam would get broken and then send off lights at the bridge to stop the truck. The problem with that is that the truck's already in a compromised position because you can't turn a truck around very easily there. So once they get past 146, or I'm sorry, once they get past, yeah, they're in trouble, and it's going to cause a backup no matter what. So we're working on it. The opportunity was missed years ago when they built the bridge, rebuilt the bridge, and they didn't raise the tracks. And there's just no other way around that. I mean, we just have to all acknowledge that that was a lost opportunity. You know, Melissa and I talked about trying to find funding to pay for raising the tracks. It's millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and there's not a lot of money out there right now for that type of stuff. So we're working on it, but it doesn't seem like there's an easy solution to that particular issue. As Councilwoman Rosbowski alluded to a little bit, one of the solutions the traffic committee is looking at with Councilwoman Rosbowski is a truck route to try to give truckers a way to get to avoid that whole situation. And so we're looking at that, but that's not easy either, because if you're familiar with the map of the town of Glenville, there's not a lot of roads going east to west. And once you need to get around something, you got to go a long way around something. So it's not an easy solution, but we are looking at different options. The Air National Guard. So I'm just kind of going through a potpourri today of probably my top calls I've been getting lately, or emails. The Air National Guard is, as many of you know, is part of the federal government, part of our national defense, in fact. The town of Glenville does not, just because they're hosted in our town, and I'm proud that they're hosted in our town, the town of Glenville does not have authority over national defense or the federal government. If they decide to fly their planes at 3 in the morning, then they decide to fly their planes at 3 in the morning. I can't do anything about that. These board members cannot do anything about that. The town of Glenville cannot do anything about that. We do have a good relationship with the Air National Guard. We do talk with the Air National Guard. We do try to get them to be more mindful of some of the residents' concerns when planes are flying at 11 o'clock at night. But they do not have to abide by our noise ordinance. They do not have to abide by anything that the town actually says. So we do keep the relationship open, but we do understand that when we talk about these things, they're doing night flights because they're training for night flights. They have to have a certain amount of night training. They have to have a certain amount of hours on the plane at nighttime. It just is a fact of life that we have to live with. And they remind me, and it's a fair point, and I remind residents that they were there before most of the homes were here. We just have to acknowledge that. I built my home 15 years ago, apparently in a flight path. I did not realize that when I built the house, but I did, and that's just the way it is. So I feel your pain. We all hear the planes. We all deal with it. But you know, the federal government doesn't answer the town of Glenville, and nor should it. Yes.
So when my wife and I were buying our first house in town of Glenville, we were at the house, looking at the house, and one of those big planes come right up over the top of the house, and the real estate lady was just devastated. She thought she lost the sale. And I could see it in her face. And I said to her, I said, to me, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And that first house of mine was on the end of, was the number 10 Warden Road, which was right at the end of what at that point was the east-west runway, which they no longer use. But I love to see them fly, and I'm very proud of the fact that the National Guard is a part of our community. So, thank you.
Thank you. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then the last thing, I just want the good work of Vicki Hillis and the folks in the park and all the great work they've been doing. We've been working hard to get 2 of these pavilions done before the snow flies, one in Indian Meadows and one in Melwick, and we are doing that. So hold on, I'm sorry, I'm just getting a message. So I want to thank you, because it'd be great if we can get that done before the end of the year, and we're burning light trying to get it done, I know. But it's been good work, and you know, might as well tell people tonight that we had a bear sighting in Indian Meadows today, and we deployed a lot of resources around that. Nobody actually saw, the person who reported it saw the bear apparently, but we didn't actually find any evidence of a bear. But again, there we had folks in the park workers out doing good work, trying to keep residents safe and protected. So that's all I really have. I just had some things I wanted just to say, because when I get so many calls on certain things, I at least want to kind of answer them generally. So maybe that helps folks as we go forward. So with that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the resolution adopting the 2021 preliminary budget and schedule a public hearing on the 2021 preliminary budget for November 4th, 2020 at 7 PM. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa? Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 12, approving the town of Glenville independently audited financial statements for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this is the annual report that is provided to us by the Benadio Group, who are certified public accountants. They complete an independent audit of our financial statements. They have completed the one ending December 31st, 2019, was presented to the town board on October 14th of this year. This resolution should pass, would approve and formally accept the town of Glenville independently audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019, as prepared by the Benadio Group.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, calling for a public hearing on November 4th, 7 o'clock here at the Municipal Center regarding a amendment to the local law, Chapter 27, Code of Ethics of the Code of the Town of Glenville. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
And Mr. Supervisor, I'm stating setting a public hearing.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 14, scheduling Halloween to be celebrated within the town of Glenville from 4 to 8 on Saturday, October 31st. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, as you spoke about in your report, this resolution is to provide the intent of keeping Halloween a safe day for the children trick-or-treating in the town of Glenville. The time for Halloween is to be celebrated within the town is between the hours of 4 PM and 8 PM on Saturday, October 31st. And the chief of police is hereby authorized to print notices of Safe Saturday Halloween and have them distributed to the neighborhood watch groups, schools, churches, newspapers, and any other locations deemed appropriate. I too have received some questions about Halloween and are we canceling it? And I'm pleased to see that we're gonna, host it like we always have. Myself personally, so that people feel comfortable, I'm gonna put a big bowl of candy out with a little sign that says, take a couple pieces and leave some for the rest. So that if people wanna come to the house, they don't have to interact and they can help themselves to some candy that's all pre-wrapped and hopefully it will be all gone so I don't eat it.
Thank you.
Those are the little pieces or the full candy bar?
My special candy bars for you.
The only thing I would add to this this year is I ask residents, both homeowners and trick-or-treaters, to be respectful of people's wishes. There are some people who are not comfortable. There are some people that just cannot answer the door. They're potentially might be too compromised. Just please make good decisions and exercise good judgment while you're out there and be safe and just try to enjoy the evening. Let the kids enjoy the evening and be respectful of everyone's wishes.
I think one suggestion that we could provide, and perhaps we could, I don't know if it would be appropriate, but if you're choosing to not participate in handing out candy, perhaps leaving your porch light off so that your home is not illuminated. If you are trick-or-treating and you see a home with porch lights off, perhaps think maybe that resident is not participating and don't ring that doorbell. That's, a pretty simple, easy way. I don't know if that's something we could maybe put out on our website, or suggestion of, one way for people to just indicate without interacting that they're not.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 15, approving the town board minutes for a regular meeting held on October 7th. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Okay.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this is the regular motion that comes before the board. This would approve the minutes from the last Glenville Town Board meeting, October 7th meeting. Thank Ms. Neal and the staff for taking my comments.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 16, approving the monthly departmental reports for September 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
A second.
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Again, Mr. Supervisor, regular motion coming before the board. This motion would approve the September 2020 report that's submitted to the board members through email by the various departments.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Now we're on to add-on number 1, which is a resolution authorizing the Commissioner of Public Works to enter into an agreement with Twin Bridges Waste and Recycling Services regarding our annual bulk pickup program. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. As many of you know, we have this in our now our preliminary budget and this program. And this is the first year we actually had 2 bidders. First time in a long time.
Yeah, it's about $6,000 less than,
Yes.
which is very good.
So this bidder came in at $51,750. Now, just to square up the 2 proposals, so everybody knows it's not an easy, dollar for dollar. The other one came in at $58,000 or $59,000, $57,000. This one has tonnage up to 350 tons. Anything over that would be $90 a ton. The other one did not have the extra tonnage, but we look back at our history and we haven't really hit 300 tons. So for us to get to 350 tons would be an extraordinary year. And we don't anticipate that the downside risk is that likely. The other bidder, however, had restrictions in their bid that this one does not, which was restricting the size of the
size of the stuff.
So it was a 4x8x4 pile. This one does not have that restriction. So we had to evaluate all those things. It wasn't just an easy 51,000 to 57,000, but this one certainly is a better proposal for our residents.
Well, I'd say that even though that traditionally there was that size of the pile restriction,
Yeah.
that it was very rarely followed. If people were emptying their home of junk, they were emptying, and they did not measure it prior to putting it out, so. It's a general.
That's true. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzowski?
Yes.
Supervisor
We have to do
Pettsley?
Here you go.
Yes, resolution passes.
So we gotta move it, second it, and then move the amendment and second it, and see if that can be amended.
Okay.
And I'll read the amendment. And
Okay. Okay, so on the next resolution, we have a slight change in wording, and we're gonna have to make an amendment. But before we do that, because we don't anticipate any further business after the executive session, so we will not come back out and do any further business. We'll do our new business now, if anyone has any new business. So you folks don't have to wait around to hear new business if you're interested in the new business. So I'll start on my left with Councilman Garlowski. Any new business?
No new business.
Councilwoman Wozzowski,
None.
Councilman Martin,
Nothing new.
Councilman Aragosa.
So I just have one thing. Saturday night Sunday afternoon, October 25th, 1 to 4 at Flightline Club, Capital Region group within our spirit. It's a fundraiser for needy families. Tennille Riccatello and Heidi Romines have this program together where they actually help over 100 families in the Capital Region for Christmas time with not necessarily toys and that sort of thing, things they need to get through the year. So if you're available or if you want to make a donation, it's Sunday at Flightline. Outside in the tent, socially distancing, there'll be music and lots of giveaways, not giveaways. Stop down 1 to 4 on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no new business, so we'll move on to resolution number 2. And so I'll start add-on number 2, I'm sorry, which I'll start with a motion to move add-on resolution 2 to authorize the town board to go into executive session. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
I have a second.
Second?
Moved and seconded. I'd like to make a motion for an amendment to change the title of the resolution to include to read that the town board of the town of Glenville hereby adjourns into executive session to discuss the employment of a particular person in the highway department. So that amendment needs to be made according to our lawyer, our town attorney, sorry. So I have that motion for amendment.
I'll move the amendment.
And do I have a second?
I'll second the
All
amendment.
right, moved and seconded. So we have an amendment on the language from personnel matter to the employment of a particular person in the highway department. Any questions or comments on that? So a vote yes is a vote for the amendment. Please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa? Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, the amendment passes. So we now have a resolution before us as amended, authorizing the town board to enter into an executive session to discuss the personnel matter regarding, or the employment, I'm sorry, the employment of a particular person in the highway department. We have a motion, we have a second. So any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Aragosa?
Yes.
Councilman Godlewski?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. We are now in executive session. You are free to stay if you like. We will leave the room and you can stay here and we'll come back and just gavel out. Or you can leave for the evening and we do not anticipate any future business. And the same for the folks on the webinar. We can leave the webinar running, but we do not anticipate any future business to come out. So if you stay, we leave. If you leave, we stay. It's up to you. But someone's got to make the first move.
Can I leave?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah, because I'm just going to gavel out. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
I can have this though. Want me to keep it? Okay.
Thanks, Jim.
The folks on the call, can you hear me? If you hang in there, we're just gonna mute everything for a while. Myrtle, can you hear me?
Yes.
Muted. Okay, so we're gonna go to executive session. If you stay, I have to mute and turn off the video. But we'll be back in about a half hour or so to gavel out, but you folks don't have to stay on the call.
Okay, I got you.
Thanks. Have a good night, Myrtle.
You too.
Thank you. Terry, I see you're on the call. Do you want to stay on the call? Terry, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm just going to mute it because I'm not getting a response from Terry and Myrtle is staying.